Welcome to Southern Discomfort. This is one of the most unique podcasts on the internet. Southern tales of the weird, wild, mysterious, unusual, voodoo, cryptids, hauntings. Are you intrigued yet? This is Southern Discomfort. Southern Discomfort. And now, your hosts, April and Christine.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Southern Discomfort. I am half your host, April, and with me always is
Christine.
Thanks everybody for tuning back in to us. I'll say thanks for being patient.
Yeah, and if it's your first time, welcome to your quarterly episode of Southern Discomfort.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so, tonight we have something interesting, a bit of a spin on things. It's a bit of a choose your own adventure. Each of us are going to share a little story with you.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited too. It's been a minute since we've done something like this, but before we do that, what's the drink of the day?
Yeah, so tonight we have Rogue Batsquatch. It's a hazy India Pale Ale, and it is tropical and has citrus tones, and it has flaked wheat, malted wheat, oats, mosaic, El Dorado, Bilma hops, imperial juice yeast, and free-range coastal water, which is probably what makes it taste really good. It's actually really mild for IPA. I like it. This one is good. I approve. It's April approved.
I'll allow it
because, my opinion is everything in the IPA craft beer world, right? Just kidding.
Well, you do like IPA, and I think return listeners know that I don't particularly care for it at all. But interestingly enough, so I'm going to have to go ahead and reveal what I'm going to talk about tonight, which is the Wampus cats. And there's a brewery in Virginia in Richmond, and they also have a location in Fredericksburg if you're in or around those areas, and they actually have a Wampus Cat triple IPA. It's 10.1 ABV. Yeah. So if we're ever up that way, we gotta go try one. This one says the legend of the Wampus Cat, spawned in Appalachia from Cherokee Indian folklore, depicts a half woman, half mountain lion that reportedly walks on hind legs and has 4 additional sharp clawed appendages. This creature from American folklore, along with strange ways triple IPA share their predestined ability to drive people crazy.
I really want to try that now.
Yeah, it says attempts at courage will likely be futile as glowingly hypnotic eyes and astounding 7 different hop varietals wield their dominance and potency. First in the Annihilation series. Oh, it's their first in this Annihilation series. Wampus Cat Triple IPA should be treated with the utmost caution if the rare fortune to confront one presents itself. Okay, here we go. But before we do that, let me just walk back for 2 seconds and just remind everybody about our socials. So on Twitter, it's SoDiscoPC. Email southerndiscomfortpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram, Southern Discomfort PC. Facebook, Southern Discomfort Podcast. And YouTube, Southern Discomfort Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your quarterly reminders when we do post, when we get around to posting. Right. So no, would very much like for you guys to come and follow us on social media. Okay.
Yeah.
So, here we go. And I gave you a little taste of what this is going to be about. But this is about a creature that roams Appalachia, which spans, Appalachia spans 25 states. So it's a very obviously vast and wild space. So early sightings between the 1920s and 1960s have been are on record. Often sightings are at dusk or just before dawn, and often near water. The creature is said to be seen and heard stalking livestock, or specifically men, and even more specifically men near campfires.
Okay. All right.
So sightings are primarily by ranchers from North Carolina to Georgia, and they report having seen a black cat-like creature walking on its hind legs and has a very distinct screechy howl. It also has yellow eyes and often reports, as I said, or that it stalks and kills livestock. It is said that very few people that have encountered the creature have lived to tell of it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, right. And so regionally, it's called different things. Not unlike other cryptids, right? So, Missouri, it's called the Wampus. Arkansas, the Wampus. Not too sure about the galley, but there you have it. Arkansas, it's known as the Whistling Wampus. And then, I mean, maybe that has something to do with the weird screechy howl. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, in Appalachia, it's known as just simply Wampus or Wampus cat. So there's a couple of different versions of the folklore around this. I just am going to talk about the one that was my favorite. So, like I said, there's a couple of different ones. So if you're interested in investigating further, there's other tales out there. It's different among white American cultures and then among Cherokee culture. So non-Native American cultures, it's a black cat, black half cat, half dog creature that runs on all fours and is also bipedal. It has 6 legs, 4 that enable it to run at full speed, and 2 additional in the front that it can use to claw your face off.
Wait, what? 6 legs?
Yeah, so like 4 where they're supposed to be on a typical cat dog, whichever one. And then it's got 2 additional in the front that are up higher, which, those are the ones that will claw your face off. So super fast, and lots of murdery paws. So, and the legend is if you hear it screeching how you will die within 3 days, or in 3 days rather. And it's yellow eyes that it has yellow eyes that are said to pierce the hearts of shoals and of those that cross its path, driving them insane. So it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun to run up on this thing.
No, it sounds nightmarish.
Right?
I'm not sleeping tonight.
Exactly. So, Cherokee folklore says the evil demon is known as the Iwa, or spirit of madness, is I think what that means. and it terrorizes villages, and specifically one called Etowah or Chota, which is now modern day North Carolina. So, as the story goes, village shamans and chiefs met in this village and decided that it would be a bad idea to send their braves to try to hunt and kill the Iwa, because they feared that its power would drive the men mad with just a glance. So, what they decided to do was, obviously they wanted to end its reign of terror, of feasting on their dreams of the children in the tribe. And what they decided to do was take only one brave, the strongest of the tribe, and he would go alone to defeat the creature. It would bring a great honor to his family and to the tribe if he were to succeed. But I mean, it doesn't sound like his odds are very good, but okay.
Okay, you go. No, only the brave. Like, sounds like everybody else rallied against, so like, yeah, you go.
So the strongest, slyest, most clever, and well-respected among the Cherokee Nation, not just, the sect where they were being terrorized, was a brave called Standing Bear or Great Fellow. So they armed him with all kinds of weapons and sent him off on his way. He was gone for several weeks into the wilderness until one night he returned to the village screaming and clawing at his face and eyes. So once he returned, he was never the same again, and actually ended up working with the children and the widows of the tribe in a gathering role, never to hunt again. And back then, that there are big gender roles, and that was one thing that the men just did not do, was stay back and be a gatherer with the women and children.
He said, fuck that.
He's like, I'm good right here. Right. So, only for the fact that, though, it made him essentially dead to the tribe and to his wife, Running Deer, who was said to be this beautiful Cherokee Indian woman. And as it turns out, she wanted to avenge what happened to him. It made her angry, obviously, that he came back and he was basically dead to the tribe. So she went to the leaders of the tribe and told them, she's like, I want to get revenge. So what they did was they gave her a booger mask, which that is a thing. It is basically a bobcat's face. And told her, with the spirit of the mountain cat booger mask, she could stand. It's funny to say, right?
Yeah.
She could stand up against the demon, but if she were going to overcome it, she would have to sneak up on it or take it by surprise. So they gave her this black paste to rub all over her body that would hide not only her, but her scent as well.
Okay, and wait. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. This is the wife of the husband that...
Yeah, this is Running Deer. She was vengeful because of the shame that was brought to Standing Bear.
Right. She's like, I'm going to, in my husband's name, I'm going to go and, slay this Wampus cat.
Yeah, I'm going to go handle business because you took my man and he was strong and big and well respected, and then you just, cut him down to nothing. So that's basically what that is.
Right.
So, here she goes, takes to the wilderness, and she knows the wilderness very well. So she's able to survive, and she's gone for many days, and she eats sweet berries to keep up her strength while she's out here. So after several days, late at night, she heard a creature walking nearby, walking along a nearby stream. And at the edge of the water, she found footprints when she went to investigate, and she also found her husband's breastplate. So she follows the path, and eventually, once she's upstream, she can see the demon. And it's all hunched over the water, and it's drinking from the mountain spring. So she's like, here's my opportunity. So she's like slowly walking toward it, and it's not seen her until she gets as close as she possibly can and leaps at it.
Wait,
So
like cries?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Leaps. I thought she said weeps. I'm sorry. My ear holes are clogged.
My ear holes. Okay. So leaps at it, it spins around, sees her in the cat mask, and it begins clawing at itself because she's basically turned its magic back on to it. And it falls back into the water. She runs back to the village, never looking back, and has essentially defeated the creature.
Oh, that's very clever. She did some reverse mind trick.
It's a little Harry Potter-ish, right? Which is interesting because there's actually a Wampus cat in the Harry Potter world. I'm not a Harry Potter whatever big super fan or anything. I've watched the movies. I like them a lot. I read a couple of the books. I didn't finish the series, but yes, there's a Wampus cat in that in that series or that world. Yeah.
Wow. Whoa.
So Running Deer returns, and the shamans and chiefs give her the name Spirit Talker, and I think Home Protector was another name that they gave her. That's the translation. I'm not sure what the actual Cherokee name is for Home Protector, but anyway, she's dubbed Spirit Talker and Home Protector, and it's believed by the tribe that her spirit is now inside the Wampus cat, and she keeps watch over the tribe's land, protecting them from demons that lurk in the dark and lost places.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And like I said, there's other versions of the story that say she actually became a cat-human hybrid.
Yes.
And is cursed to live in the woods alone forever, never again to interact with humans. So some say that when she disturbs people or animals or property or whatever, that's out of anger from being banished to the woods forever. Because regionally, there's that's the phrase that they use is catawampus anytime things are unusually placed or not how that people left them, or animals go missing, or found killed, or strange howls or screeches are heard and can't be explained. It's all blamed on the catawampus, or the Wampus cat,
the scapegoat. Yes,
exactly. So, okay. So going back to the name, well, we say things are cattywampus when they're out of order or whatever. I mean, I don't regularly use that word, but regionally, catawampus is used in the South. Catawampus means askew or diagonal. It was first recorded in the 1830s to 40s. Originally, it also meant fierce. It's thought to be an American colloquialism influenced by the catter-cornered, which of course, some people say kitty corner, but we say catty cornered when something is, off or whatever. And wampish is Scottish for flopping out. So,
catty corner, if it came from kitty corner, means like you cornered a cat.
Yeah.
As in, like you cornered the Wampus cat. And it acts, and maybe because they hop real funny and arch their back and they you know, and that's all like you said, askew is not normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
I'm tracking.
So I thought that was interesting. And then there's just this one twist on the legend that I read about that I wanted to just quickly talk about. So in 1964 in Johnson County, North Carolina, along a river basin, there were reports of an ape-like creature roaming the woods. An 8-foot-tall, hairy ape-man roaming the area. The Goldsboro News Argus called, the newspaper, called the animal a Wampus cat, and the name stuck.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So that's, what is that? Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, that's their version.
Yeah.
And as the story goes, it drew over 100 people to this small town in Johnson County, until the sheriff was like, it drew them to the county because they were wanting to hunt the creature. And then the sheriff was like, no, we're not going to do that because, you know, he just basically was like, nothing to see here, you know.
Right.
He said it was because he wanted to keep the public safe, and it was dismissed as a hoax. But,
yeah.
So this was 1964, right? So it's after, the sightings really stop in the 1960s of the Wampus cat. So whatever this was in 64 is apparently like more of a Bigfoot type creature, but
yeah, that's interesting because I wonder if that's when it, like, everybody was pushed more out into the cities, and then I'm sure they still had their hunters, but, you know, people moved from, at least by that time anyway, they had a mass amount of people probably moved from rural to urban areas.
Right, exactly. So, you know, and while there've not been any real sightings to speak of since the 60s, people still report hearing that screechy howl. So, you know, there's reason to believe that it is still wandering in wandering Appalachia, which, I mean, if you think about it, you know, it's certainly plausible that there is something in there. So
yeah, and also I find it very interesting that this is a large cat, and that what the legend is about a large cat, and it's tied in mainly with a woman. Like, yes, there was her husband part of the story, but in the different iterations that you run across, you see where it's mostly the main character is a woman, and that's what these wild cats make these noises that sound like women that yell, like a screaming or yelling or wailing woman.
Yeah, and that is, you know, like I said, in those different versions, that's the common theme, is that it's a woman, and regardless of, you know, whether she's angry or still vengeful or maybe sad, who knows, you know, that she can't ever interact with humans again. But anyway, that was my favorite version of the story, so I hope you guys enjoyed that.
The story that I have tonight is about the Black-Eyed Kids. So the Black-Eyed Kids it's an American legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 to 16, usually described as having pale skin and black eyes, and they're either hitchhiking or they're begging, and sometimes showing up on doorsteps of homes, and usually in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah, so
that's not creepy.
No, not at all. So even if you thought you might fall asleep tonight, you probably won't. But anyway, you might fall asleep, but I don't know if you'll stay asleep. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm going to talk about is what is credited to be the origin of the Black-Eyed Kids stories, because there are a lot of them out there that people have come forward since. So first I guess, came into modern culture with Brian Bethel. He is a reporter or journalist for the newspaper in Abilene, Texas. And he also was on Monsters and Mysteries with his story. So this is the count. So in 1996, he was in the parking lot of a strip mall area, and this is in Abilene, Texas, and he was going to pay an internet bill. Back then, you could write a check for your bills and then drop them off, and that's what he was doing after hours.
I remember those days.
Yeah. he was writing his check, and he's in his truck doing that, and he was going to just write his check, get out, and drop it off in the drop box. And nearby was this theater, and back in those days, and I remember this too, they had the older theaters would play like $1.50 features. You go watch a dollar show, and for some of these cheap show that these movies had already been out for a while, and so that's what he was next to this, and he was this was to tell you like what time frame it was. Mortal Kombat, not the new one, of course, but like the old one. I think it came out like right was playing on, and it had been out for a while because this was the feature at the cheap movie, right, on the sign, on the marquee, and he was using the light of the marquee to illuminate like his checkbook when he was writing. So he's sitting there in his truck writing out his check, and he hears a knock on his window door.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, so he looks out, and he sees two boys wearing hoodies and jeans. And they looked to be about 9 and 12 years old. So one was taller, and he stood in front of the other one. And he did all the talking. So this... well, this one did. One of them did. So this boy was mostly pale in complexion, he describes, with a slight olive shade, had curly hair. And then there was the shorter one was behind this taller one, and he never spoke, but he was lighter in complexion with reddish hair and freckles. So this is how close he was. Like he could look out and see. And the taller one, he is described by Bethel as being exceptionally smooth talking for a kid his age. That he didn't fumble around with his words like kids often do. Just described him as being polished. So he says, "Hey, mister, we need a ride. We want to see the movie and we forgot our money at home. Can you take us to our mother's house to get our money? It's not far away. We just want to see the movie." And so Bethel said immediately he felt fear just come over him, and just said that he felt like something was wrong and there was a sense of danger, especially coming from the kid that just spoke up. So then the taller kid spoke up again in an agitated voice and said, "Come on, mister, we just want to ride. We don't have a gun or anything."
Oh, wow, okay.
So this, of course, made him even more unsettled. So he asked the kids, he's like, "Well, what movie do you want to see?" And they say, "Well, Mortal Kombat." And then he noticed that the last show, he looks up at the marquee, the sign, and he sees that Mortal Kombat was at 9:30. That was when the last showing was set to start. And at that time, it was already 9:45. So he was like rationalizing in his head that by the time he gets, because he's actually thinking, am I going to take these kids, but by the time I do that and go get the money, come back, he said that it'll be like almost over, well into the movie. And this was not making sense to him. So he told them the movie had already started. And at that moment, he looked at the kids and he noticed that their eyes were black. Just solid black. And so he was...
That's unsettling.
He really was overcome with disbelief and realizing that there's definitely something wrong at this point. And he was fearful of these kids. So he rolls up the window. Well, he's telling them, I can't do it, like coming up with all these excuses why he's got to leave. He starts rolling up the window, and then he starts puts it in reverse and starts backing up, and that's when the taller kid started banging on the window, like a forceful bang. It was not a tap, he said. It was a very aggressive, hard banging on the window. And the kid was saying, "We can't come inside your car unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." He drives off, and he backs up, drives off, and looks in his rearview mirror, and they're gone. He said there was, the way that the layout was, there was nowhere for them to have gone. He would have seen them. So,
just no.
He
no.
sped home, runs to his door, unlocks the door, collapses on the floor, just in panic. So this is where he gets crazy. When he calms down, he calls his friend Chad, and this whole accounting is of this story is on Monsters and Mysteries too. So he calls his friend Chad and he tells him what happened. So Chad had a girlfriend over, and she was listening to Chad's side of the conversation. And before Bethel could tell Chad about, get to the part where about the boy's eyes were black, so the girl speaks up and she's like, "I had a dream about these kids who had black eyes, and they were evil." And what she said was, if he had let them in his truck, she believes somehow he would have died. So there it is. That is the first story to, the first account of black-eyed kids. And since then, people have come forward. They've spoken up. You can find them on message boards, these stories. Just go into your podcast app and search for black-eyed kids, and you can hear, they've done many podcast episodes on these. But, yeah, it's pretty unsettling and unnerving.
Sure, there are theories on what they're all about.
Yeah, and they range from all kind of things, but I'll tell you what my thoughts. I get Men in Black vibes because they seem to be like pretending and like that's their facade, right? That's their cover.
Yeah.
Like for whether they're aliens or, I don't know, lizard people, and they're trying to blend in, but it's like, okay, they feel like, I think this is some kind of other being or whatnot, supernatural being that wants to try to take the human shape form, and they think what could be the most unassuming, somebody could be approachable, and that would be kids, but it's like they just don't get it right. It's like something's off and they're evil and whatnot. And who knows, because what if these people have let them in? Because they're different stories. There was one about a girl in somewhere in Texas, in South Texas, where her account is she was coming home from work late one night in the early morning hours. Her friend drops her off, and she was trying to be quiet so she wouldn't be disturbing to her parents. And she comes in, and no sooner does she come in and shut the door, she hears a pretty hard knock on the door. So she's thinking that's the friend that dropped her off. So she opens the door quickly without even looking, because she thinks that's her friend, and also she's not trying to make any more noise than possible, because she's trying not to disturb her family. And so when she opens the door, she sees a little girl, probably about 6 or so, and she's got a stroller with a little baby in it, and all she can see is like the little legs of the baby because the rest of the baby's covered up. And so the little girl, she said that she can't remember if they actually spoke, because she doesn't remember what her voice sounded like, but somehow she knew that the little girl wanted to use the phone. And so she's like, I don't even think she responded, but she shuts the door really quickly, like, no, not doing that. And then by that time, she said her mother had gotten up and asked her what was going on. And she said, well, this little girl's out there and she wanted to use the phone. And so with a baby in the stroller, and the mom's like, well, why didn't you let her in? Why did you shut the door? She said, well, she's just out. And then the mom thought, well, maybe the daughter is trying to come up with an excuse. It really was the friend that dropped her off. So she's like, no, they're out there. And then she looks out the window. They're gone. She runs out there. They're gone. Oh, wait, did I mention she had black eyes? I totally forgot that part of the story.
I mean, you didn't, but I just kind of inferred it. I was like, she has to have black eyes.
Oh, yeah, so before she slammed the door, she knows she had black eyes, but she had a sense of things were not right and evil with this little baby and the little girl. So anyway, but she does run outside, and they're gone. She's like, there was nowhere for them to have, they could have made it outside of her view, by the as quick as that was. And she said she still heard, when she ran outside to look for him, she still heard her friend leaving the neighborhood in the car.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's how quick everything took place. So, yeah, there's that. So that's just one of many other sightings.
So whatever they want, they have to be invited into your space.
Okay, that was the other thing. So now, yes, I also get vampire vibes.
Right, that's what I got.
Right, you get vampire vibes. You get, maybe this is Men in Black trying to like disguise themselves. But also, if you listen to other, because I listen to weird, creepy, like Art Bell, old, Coast to Coast. I like the weird and the wild. So I have heard of other stories and accounts of people who see their family members, but they're doppelgangers, but they're not. So maybe the mom might be upstairs, and then they're downstairs, and there's no way the mom could have run downstairs, and they see the mom, or they hear like their grandmother's voice calling them from the woods to like lure them back into the woods, but they know that's not their grandmother, but they've mimicked this voice, or at least made these people think that that's who's talking to them. Yeah. So I get those vibes too, those creepy, weird, like, let me in, trying to like fool you. Little
soul suckers.
Yeah. Yes. So y'all just watch out, because I'm fearful of that, because I would, oh my gosh, as non-observant and detail-oriented as I am, and also like, no, I'm not detail-oriented is what I'm trying to say, and or sometimes I'm like in my own little world, but I'm also just always looking out for the kids. I feel like, oh my gosh, and maybe I'm putting this out there and I shouldn't, but I'm thinking, man, is that going to be what does me in? Like somebody disguised as a little kid, like, please.
It's going to be me with an animal.
Yes,
so.
right.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super creepy.
It is. So that's it for tonight, but I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for having the patience, for, waiting, and the waiting for us to put out another episode, and we will be
there will be more.
Yeah, working hard behind the scenes to bring y'all the next one. So y'all have a really good night until next time, and remember to keep one eye open,
because you never know what you might see. Typical cat dog.
Cat dog.
Whatever, whichever one. So I don't think that they named the Wampus cat. Or wait, hit stop.
I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid. Right? There is none.
I don't think that, oh my God, what am I trying to say? I'm just drew a blank.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Before I had even mentioned this topic, had you ever heard of the Black Eyed Kids?
You've been listening to Southern Discomfort with April and Christine. As you can tell, this is one of the most unique podcasts on the internet. So we want you to be able to reach out to us. Send emails to southerndiscomfortpodcast@gmail.com. On Facebook at Southern Discomfort Podcast. And on Instagram at Southern Discomfort PC. And for shows, visit southerndiscomfort.podbean.com. And this podcast can be found anywhere you get your podcasts. Till next time, keep one eye open, because you never know what you might see. This is Southern Discomfort, signing off.